Yeah.
Bro, I get there, bro, and like I start hearing Cameroon French, bro, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell everybody is saying to me. Bro,
Shout out to our brothers from Cameroon, though.
Bro,
They're different.
there
They're
was the-
different over there.
Man, I heard the Cam Franglais, and I was like, wait a minute.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, boys and girls. Welcome back to Bawa TV. It is your host, it's Samba. Today is a very, very special episode. We got a brother out here. His name is Ethan. He's going to introduce himself. We're going to get to know him a little bit more. But before that, I want to say that this episode is going to be in English. So, Brother Ethan, it is common on my show. I usually ask my guests to introduce themselves
Okay.
and tell us about their upbringing and everything.
Okay.
So I'm not going to not do that with you. So my first question for you is introduce yourself and talk to the people who doesn't know you
Okay.
about yourself.
Okay. Okay. And it's not, it's no problem. But, okay, my name is Evan Coleman.
So it's Evan. It's
Evan.
not Ethan.
No, yes.
Oh my God.
No,
I'm gonna
that's why I say-
cut it
I
out.
already said it's not a problem.
all right.
Okay, no problem.
Yes.
Okay, so my name is Evan Coleman. I am from the city of Grand Rapids in the state of Michigan, country, the United States. If you know Floyd Mayweather, the boxer,
Oh, wow.
he is from Grand Rapids, Michigan as well.
Wow.
If you know Emory Douglas, he was the Minister of Culture of the Black Panther Party
Oh, that's
for
good.
self-defense. He's also from Grand Rapids. So coming from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay. Okay. All right. There's a lot to unpack here. Even so, you were born in the U.S. in this small town called what?
Grand Rapids.
Grand Rapids, where a lot of celebrity also were born and raised pretty much.
I wouldn't say a lot, but
No?
a few.
These are big time celebrities, man.
A handful.
A handful. Okay.
Just a handful.
All right. So how is it like you growing up in this small town, if I could say?
It was, it was all I knew for a large part of my life. I had positive experiences in Grand Rapids. It's where I was born and raised.
Okay, all right.
So, yes.
Great. Okay. So we're actually shooting this interview live from the Madeleine. We are precisely in Burkina Faso, and the city where we at is called Ouagadougou. So Ethan, what brought you from Grand Rapids to Burkina Faso? So I want you to talk us about your journey from Grand Rapids to Burkina Faso.
Okay. So I spent from I was born until I was about 23 years old in the United States, in Michigan in particular.
Okay.
I went to university at the University of or Michigan State University, excuse me. Got my bachelor's degree
What was your major?
in marketing.
Oh, marketing. Oh, okay.
Yes,
That's
in
dope.
marketing. So I studied business for my bachelor's degree. Through that process of studying business and also my own personal development, I came to realize that the type of business that I was learning was not what I wanted to do. I was also beginning a process of re-Africanization and came to realize that I needed to travel, live, and work on the continent for my own personal development, to clear up a lot of misconceptions that I had been taught, the way that I had been miseducated about myself, about my family, and about our culture.
Okay, interesting. Before I let you proceed, Ethan, what do you identify yourself? Like, do you identify yourself as a African American? Or, I mean, actually, a lot of people have issue with this term, with the Black American,
Yes.
or a mixed race, or, I mean, because you're not white. I mean, how would you identify yourself?
I'd like to keep things simple. I just consider myself African.
African? Okay, all right.
Yes.
Africans?
Yes,
That's it?
just African, because you could be African in the Americas, you could be in North America, you could be African in South America, in Europe, in Asia, but wherever you are in the world, you're still African.
Okay.
So yeah, just to be simple.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was important for our audience.
Yes.
So yes. So then did you do your DNA test or whatever? You say there's this test and it tells you, this percentage of that tribe or whatever.
Yes,
You did that?
yes. So I did a DNA test, and on my father's side, because both of my parents, my mother is of European descent,
Okay.
my father is of African descent.
Okay.
They've been in the Americas for many generations. We've been in the Americas.
Okay.
If you know American history, if you know American African history, you know that Africans in America have mixed with Europeans, have mixed with Native Americans, and everything like that. So when I did my DNA test, of course, on my mother and my father's side, ancestors are coming from Germany, are coming from Ireland.
Okay.
That's on the European side again, but I consider myself African. That's
Okay.
my happenstance.
Awesome.
But where I actually identify is coming on my father's side from Nigeria and Ghana. I have ancestors in Nigeria and Ghana, yes.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yes.
So throughout that journey,
Yes.
did the first African country you've been to was one of these two African countries?
It was not actually.
Okay.
So I ended up.
Yes. How do you end up in? So tell me about the process of you deciding to move out of America and going to Africa.
Yes.
And what made you decide this country in particular where I'm going to move first?
Yes.
And kind of experience Africa for the first time. What motivated that?
Okay. So when I was going to university, I was, of course, university is it's a growing experience, a developmental stage. So in that stage, I was becoming aware of who I was through my classes, through my friends that I was having. I was just going through an awakening, self-awakening.
Okay.
And so in that process, I'm studying more about Africa. I'm studying more about the Black American experience, the African American experience. And it was through that process of self-awareness and cultural discovery that it became clear to me, okay, we have been lied to. We've been miseducated about ourselves and our people and our history. As many of you are aware, if you're in the U.S., whenever you see something about Africa, it's always negative, disease, poverty, war, all types of images like this are the default images if you're in the U.S. And so in my own process of, coming to know myself, it was like, nah, that's not actually the case.
Okay. And yes.
And so I wanted to see that for myself.
Okay.
I wanted to see what it was because I realized it was like, all right, the information that I've been given is a lie. I don't necessarily want to trust the information that I'm being given.
Right.
Let me see with my own eyes. Let me, let me feel the place. Let me do it on my own.
Okay.
So that's where the inspiration came to travel to the continent. Where I was going to go, I didn't know. I had originally started applying through the Peace Corps. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Peace Corps.
I do know what that is.
Yeah,
It's like
so-
a non, whatever. It's like not an NGO, but it's like non-profitable
Yes,
organization.
right. Yeah, it's a
pretty much.
nonprofit
Yes.
organization. It's really a Fed organization. It's an op organization. I wasn't. That didn't really concern me too much.
Okay.
You know, its affiliation with the U.S. government and so on.
Okay.
Again, I was just trying to get to the continent,
Okay.
whatever way that I could, and I knew that based on my skills, based on my studies,
Yeah.
I knew that that was an avenue that I could get there. I couldn't think of another option.
Okay.
So I had gone through the application process with the Peace Corps. That didn't end up working out. Didn't work out. And I had developed some close friends in different African and African American studies departments at the university.
Okay.
And so they knew I was trying to get to the continent. They knew I was trying to go this Peace Corps route.
Okay.
And when it didn't work out and I got my rejection letter, I went to a friend of mine and I was bummed. You know what I mean? I was devastated. Like, what am I going to do now? And then she was able to guide me, and she recommended that I apply as a volunteer teacher with an association called the ACE Foundation, ACE standing for African Centered Education Foundation. They have schools throughout Africa. And she recommended that I apply to work at these schools. And so I went through the application process, was accepted into the volunteer program.
Wow.
And then was stationed in Douala, Cameroon.
Oh.
So that is the first city and country on the continent that I went to. Cameroon,
Wow.
yes. And
Cameroon.
so, yes.
That's
so
a French-speaking country. I mean, it's actually bilingual.
Technically, it's bilingual, but majority French-speaking. Yes.
Wow. Okay. So now we're getting to the motherland. So you book your ticket.
Yes.
You're going to Cameroon.
Yes.
Pack everything up.
Yes.
Say bye to your family.
Yes.
Hop on the plane.
Yes.
And you go to Cameroon, Douala.
Right.
First time in Africa.
Yes.
What strike you when you step out of the plane? Was there somebody out there waiting on you?
Yes. So I
The
was
company, whatever driver.
Right. So the school had.
So what
picked
was
me up.
the first experience? Because the first time in Africa, there's something that you're gonna pick up.
Yes.
That will stick in your mind forever.
Right.
What was it for you?
I would say that the first thing that was alarming to me was the traffic.
Okay, so coming out of the plane and seeing a big crowd, because what I get for the most part is that the guys step out of the plane, it's first time in Africa,
Yes.
and they see like 1,000 people waiting on him, watching him, like,
Right. Exactly.
And
Yeah, no, you're right.
You're like,
right.
"Oh my God,
Exactly.
what's going on here?" They're kind
Because
of
I'm
scared.
a sore thumb, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not from Cameroon.
You're clearly not from Cameroon.
I'm not from Cameroon, you know.
So yeah, you stand out for sure. And so for some people, that was something really, kind of. It's a
Yes.
weird welcoming.
It is.
But
You're
it's
right. You're right.
it's actually outwhelming,
Yes.
So like I'm somewhere and people are really like happy to see me.
Yes. Right.
So yes. So the first for you is more. It wasn't that crowded when you landed. You landed at what time? Do you remember that?
I landed. It was still in the day. I think it was like early afternoon.
Okay. So I guess it's not.
No, excuse me. No, this is what it was, in fact, because I had gotten accepted into the program, and then the first thing they told me, okay, congratulations, you've been admitted into the Teach for Africa program.
Yeah.
Start learning French.
Oh.
Because it's Douala. Douala is majority French speaking.
Correct.
It's supposed to be a French speaking region.
Right.
In the French region of Cameroon. And so I'm learning French. I start learning French on Duolingo.
Oh, I know that. I know that definitely. Everybody knows
Right.
that.
So I'm learning French on Duolingo. I'm on that thing daily because
Okay.
I think I had about 5 months
You start like
before I started my program.
okay.
So I took that 5 months and I was really spending a lot of time on there. I think by the time I actually took off,
Yeah.
they said, according to the platform, that I was 50% fluent in French.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah,
50
right. So
cent
I
is
was like,
pretty
I was like,
decent.
man, I'm about to go there and I'm about
And
to
kill it.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I'm ready to go,
Yeah.
bro. I get there, bro,
Mm-hmm.
and like, I start hearing Cameroon French, bro, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell anybody is saying to me.
Shout
Bro,
out to our brother from Cameroon, though.
Bro,
They're different.
there
They're
was the-
different over there.
Man, I heard the Cam Franglais and I was like,
Mix some English
yeah,
word
they
in there.
mix
Oh,
English.
shoot.
They mix. They're mixing English. They're mixing French. They're mixing.
Some of their local dialect
Yeah,
too.
local dialect. They're so I'm like, I don't know what the hell anybody's saying, and
Yeah.
they're just saying like, bonjour, and I'm like, nah, that's not how I remember learning. I'm like, what is this? So I think, no, let me take it back, step back. It wasn't the traffic first.
Yeah.
The first thing I recognized was like, I am not ready. I'm not linguistically.
yes.
I'm not prepared.
Wow, and
I
that,
was
that should
running-
be a shock for you because
Yeah,
you
right.
probably be working in a French environment,
Right,
and you have
exactly.
no idea what they're saying.
That's what I'm saying. So
That's
it was
crazy.
like I came to the thing. I was like, all right, this will be a breeze. I know a little bit of French.
Yeah.
But it dawned on me. There's French, and then there's
African French,
There's African French.
Asian French,
Right,
or whatever French-speaking countries. So yeah,
that was eye-opening
Okay,
for me.
okay,
Yeah, so
all
I would
right,
say
that's a
that
good
was
one.
the first impression.
That's a
really.
good one. That's a great
Before
one.
the traffic, it was that.
Okay, all
Yes.
right. So and then you start this program at this ACE schools.
Yes.
How was it? How long you stay there? Cause so you end up in Cameroon,
Yes.
and how long you stay there for, and how was the experience out there in Cameroon?
Okay. I was in Cameroon. Initially, I was in Cameroon for 2 years. I had planned on being in Cameroon for 1 year.
Okay.
The program was minimum 1 year, maximum 2 years. That was the volunteer contract.
Okay.
So I went there with the intention of just going for a year.
Mm-hmm.
But through the experience, I realized that I had to stay for the 2.
Okay.
And I guess I'll get into that. But so I ended up staying for 2 years. My experience was life-changing.
Wow.
Partially, of course, because I was in a new environment, the cultural challenges, all of the different aspects. I was away from home
Right.
for the first time, for the longest time. Not for the first time. I had done a little bit of traveling, but those were for like week-long
Okay.
periods. This was like,
Long time.
so all of the challenges that come with being away from home, being in another culture, not being able to speak the language, all these different challenges. And Cameroon it can be a rough place. I don't know if you know Cameroonians, but Cameroonians, they're pretty.
They're there. I mean, yeah, I have a couple of Cameroonian friends, but yeah, they're really.
I think they're notorious. I think Cameroonians are notorious.
Definitely, yeah.
The Cameroonian mindset and attitude
Oh,
is
yeah.
not it's
They're go-getters.
it's something new. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was new for me.
Okay.
So the Cameroonian environment, the Cameroonian mindset, that matched with the fact that I was white, and that was the first time I had been white.
Oh.
Because in the U.S., of course, the racial experience is different. You can
It is
be my
different.
skin tone, but you see my hair, you even see my skin tone, my mannerisms and everything like that, and I'm not white. I'm black in the U.S.
Right.
But that was the first time I was a white man.
Oh yeah.
So I have all of these different things going on. You have the rough and rugged Cameroonian mentality on top of I'm clearly a foreigner. So I had to switch my whole disposition.
Oh.
I had to switch my whole disposition. I had to learn to be like a no shit taking kind of person. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But that wasn't originally my disposition. My disposition, I would say, was pretty non-confrontational. I had to learn to be confrontational
Right.
to defend myself in all these ways. Not like I was getting in fights or anything like that,
Yeah.
but just the way that Cameroonians interact with one another
Yeah.
is like very blunt and straightforward.
Right.
Where I was kind of a maybe more passive aggressive kind of person. I had to
Okay.
change.
Oh wow. So it changed you.
Yeah, it
Oh,
changed me
that's
significantly.
that's interesting.
And that's just in the environment, but on top of that, the school.
Yeah.
The best way I can describe the school is like a military academy.
Oh.
It's military.
It's in a military base or something?
It's not in a military base, but it's very much. It's a leadership school.
Oh,
And
okay.
anytime I think you get into a leadership program, it matches.
It's pretty strict.
Yeah, it's strict. It's
Okay.
strict.
All right.
So I had this combination of having to develop my leadership skills and my character, that combined with being in a completely different environment,
to
what some
dress.
would call harsh or blunt and rough.
Oh yeah.
So this combination had changed me in many ways.
Okay. So that's interesting. And
Yes.
real quick before we come to Burkina Faso, what was the position you were volunteering? But so what was your everyday your day-to-day life? What were
Yes.
you doing, and what are the tasks that you were assigned to?
Yes.
At this school.
Man, so I had managerial assignments on
Okay.
top of teaching assignments. I had initially started out as the administrator of the school. In addition to, I was teaching social studies,
nice.
history, geography.
Okay.
I was teaching a course called Classical African Studies.
Oh, my.
I was also teaching a class called Character Development. So I had
That
four
was-
courses
Okay.
that I was teaching at the secondary school level.
Okay.
And then I had administrative responsibilities on top of that. Now
That's a lot. You
Yeah,
got a
it was a
lot
lot.
going on
It was a
over
lot going on.
Yeah.
And so I've been working a job since I was 12 years old. So I have a lot of work experience, but nothing at the level of really a serious manager and a manager of an international organization nonetheless.
Right.
So I had a lot of difficulty. I ended up getting removed from as the administrator because I had made a lot of professional errors.
Oh, shoot.
And then the top management made the decision that it was probably too risky to have me
Sorry about
in
that.
that position. Hey,
I mean,
no, it's a learning experience.
It is what it is. Exactly. You're
Right.
learning over there.
Hey,
So,
so then from there, I started working in student affairs. I developed in student affairs, got my bearings, then moved to academics. So I ended up getting managerial experience in the three key departments of any school:
okay.
administration, student affairs, academics.
Awesome.
So I was managing the school, I was teaching. Those were my daily assignments.
Awesome. That's amazing. And
Yes.
you learn a lot during those. How long you stay there for?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, I
You spent
was-
2 years in Cameroon.
I spent
And-
initially I spent 2 years in Cameroon.
Okay.
Yes. Then I finished my second year and I ended up going back to school to get my master's degree.
Interesting.
So I got my master's degree, was in DC, went to Howard University for my master's in education. That took
That
2
was
years.
okay. Washington D.C. Yes, that's
Yes.
a well-known university as well.
Yes.
Shout out to you.
Hey, thank you.
Congratulations to
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Kudos. That's
Hey,
how we say it here.
Yeah, right. Hey, I
And
appreciate that.
so
Thank you,
yes,
sir.
of course. So you finished that program.
Went back to Cameroon afterwards.
Okay.
For
how
a
long?
year.
For a year.
Yes.
And how do you end up out here in Burkina?
So I'm working with an international network of schools. We have schools in Cameroon, in South Africa, and in Burkina Faso.
Okay.
So after my third year in Cameroon, I was presented the opportunity to come to Burkina Faso
Okay.
and to help develop the school here.
Okay. So
I took
and then you took it.
Yeah.
Did you knew about the country before?
I knew a little bit about Burkina Faso from my own studies in African history,
Okay.
knowing, of course, the liberation struggles in Burkina Faso, knowing, of course, Thomas Sankara.
That's amazing. That's a
and
lot.
being familiar with him.
Coming from an American, bro.
Yes.
That is amazing. 'Cause-
So
yeah. Okay.
I knew a little bit. I had scratched
That's
the
a lot.
surface. I was familiar.
I knew what I'm talking about. I've talked to a lot of American. They ask me where Burkina Faso is. They think it's in Asia. You actually know a little bit more about the country.
Right.
That's amazing. bro.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
yeah, of course. So, what was the first few months you spent out here? What was the difference with Cameroon, and how did you actually, get into the culture? Settle down out here for work and stuff. How
Yes.
was it?
Oh, it was a very smooth transition coming into Burkina Faso.
Interesting.
I think the school intentionally puts people in Cameroon because they had said to me, if you can make it in Cameroon, you can make it anywhere.
Okay.
So that experience had shaped me a lot. Coming into Burkina Faso was very smooth, very different culturally,
Okay.
very different people.
Mm.
The people in Burkina Faso are some of the most respectful people that I've ever met.
Thank you.
I think some of the most upright and righteous people I've ever met.
Thank you for that.
And I'm not throwing shade at Cameroon. I think if you're from Cameroon, you know Cameroon, so you can agree with me on this.
Yeah.
It's very different because I would be in Cameroon and I couldn't walk down the street without somebody heckling me. LeBlanc, white
LeBlanc,
man.
yes.
Do you have something for me?
Right.
Kind of situation. So I was always getting heckled.
Okay.
Everybody was always chirping me.
Right.
We'll say in the U.S., shouting, hollering.
Yeah.
I would be across the street and some man across the street had to holler at me and make it known that I was just trying to live.
Yes.
I have not, I could maybe count on a single hand the number of times where I have been called out in Burkina Faso.
Wow.
I could probably count on the number of times where something has been asked for me, from me,
by someone
in Burkina Faso.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
It's so strange because in Cameroon, again, no shade, Cameroonians, you know how you are, so it is what it is.
You do not want to get in trouble with Cameroonians.
You know how it is. But it was always like, people would say bonjour to me, bonsoir to me, and then it was always something afterwards, like bonjour,
they're
monsieur.
always expecting something.
Right.
Okay.
You have something for me. It was so strange coming into Burkina Faso, and people would just greet me. People would just say bonjour, and I would say bonjour. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, damn, I'm going to have to tell this person I ain't got nothing on me.
Right.
But it wasn't like that. They would just say bonjour, bonsoir.
Okay.
And it was like, damn, that's nice.
That's
People are
different.
just greeting me. Yeah, people are just greeting me. That was crazy.
That's pleasing to hear.
Yeah,
from
right.
you.
It's very
And,
pleasing.
Yeah. Okay. That's something positive about your move out here.
Exactly.
What was something that you didn't like that much that you had in Cameroon?
Cameroon, I think, because of the climate.
Yeah.
It's very spoiled. The food, and there's just so much food.
Oh my.
And it's just so plentiful.
Okay.
And it's so green and rich. And there's just so much in Cameroon.
What? I feel like I'm missing out not going to Cameroon.
It really, I'm telling you, go to Cameroon. You will eat some of the best food that you've ever had in your life. It's delicious.
All right.
Coming here, I'm not saying the food is not good. I'm not
It's
saying
okay.
I don't love the food.
This is a free podcast. You're free to say whatever you.
But there's a
mind
clear
is.
difference. There's a clear difference. The food in Cameroon, you're right on the coast, so you get a lot of seafood. The fish there is incredible. Oh my gosh, it's just delicious.
Okay.
So one of the things that you'll see that's different here, the food is different. The climate is different, so it's drier.
It's
here.
really hot.
Yeah, it's hot and it's dry. In Cameroon, it's
humid.
It's humid. Yeah, right. Exactly. So you're like.
Okay, so that's a strong point you're pointing out. I mean, we don't have the best cuisine.
I still love it though.
Let me not say we don't. I mean, compared to other African countries,
right.
Senegal, Ghana,
it's a climate thing.
it's different.
It's
it is
Thing,
exactly.
you know?
So I definitely I understand what you mean by that.
Yes.
So now your everyday life.
Yes.
How is school here? Was it different? Whatever you were doing in Cameroon is different.
Yes.
here.
Yeah. It's much different. Just like again, the Burkina Bay people again are some of the most respectful and upright people I've ever met in my life.
Thank you for that.
So the students, the children, are some of the most respectful and upright children that you you will ever meet in your life.
Wow.
So working at a school and you're dealing with children, you will be so surprised how well behaved the children are. The students are so well behaved.
Okay. So
Comparatively, yeah. Comparatively, because you're dealing with kids wherever you're at, and kids are very difficult to deal with.
Right.
Kids are very difficult to deal with wherever
general,
you are, just in general.
Yeah.
But here, it's really something. It's
Okay.
really something. The youth here, man, the way that you have been able to maintain your culture is just really something that is inspiring and really has to be commended.
Thank you for that.
It's really
that's
something.
That's something people usually tell us about Burkina, about the fact that we actually stay rooted to our culture and stuff.
Yes.
And so moving fast forward,
Yes.
I'm gonna ask you about